This is a talk by Kip Thorne about relativity. I want to go through it and highlight something.
Half century in this, the centennial year of general relativity. Let me begin with black holes. A very brief history of black holes. There are going to be some names here that won't be familiar to you. I don't want to focus on the names so much as on the issues. 1916, beginning with Einstein's field equation. Now, one equation which has ever so much information buried in it. A guy named Karl Schwarzschild discovered the formula that describes a black hole, a non-spinning black hole, but he didn't understand it. He didn't understand what he had. 1939, Einstein looked at Schwarzschild's formula and he completely misunderstood what it was saying, and he disbelieved that black holes could exist because he didn't really understand. That same year, Robert Oppenheimer, who would go on to lead the atomic bomb project in the United States in World War II, and his student Hartland Snyder, who had been a truck driver in Utah in the United States until he went to work with Oppenheimer. Together they solved Einstein's equations to compute what happens when a star implodes, if it loses the pressure that holds it up when it implodes. And they saw it forming this Schwarzschild's black hole, but they didn't really understand the mathematics, and they couldn't really fully decipher what was going on. And it was not until the 1950s and 60s, in the hands of a number of subsequent generation of physicists, including John Wheeler, who was my personal mentor at Princeton, finally the equations were understood, and the things I'm going to describe were understood. In 1965, Roy Kerr in New Zealand discovered the formula for spinning black holes, and so it brought in the spin, which will be very important in what I described for you. In the 60s and 70s, we had then the golden age of black hole research, led by Stephen Hawking, and my own students at Caltech made major contributions, and I stood by and smiled and admired them.
Okay, so this is the brief history of black holes. According to this, Einstein did not understand it, and again Einstein misunderstood and disbelieved, and including Oppenheimer and Steiner. He didn't really understand it either. And so the claim is it was understood from about the 1950s and 60s by people like Wheeler, and then it's carried on for other people like Kerr and Hawking and Kip Thorne. So these people are from the 1950s onwards for relativity, and they're looking back to people like Einstein and saying Einstein did not understand black holes, and by inference did not understand general relativity properly, and so they're using this excuse that Einstein did not understand to dismiss everything before the 1950s and say something different from this point on, from Wheeler and so forth. It is a revision of relativity. When you look at what Einstein says, he's saying different to Wheeler and Thorne and so forth. And it all starts in the 1950s. If you go back to Einstein, which is before the 50s, Einstein's saying different. But now they've got a revision in the 1950s, and they have an excuse: Einstein did not understand it. So they ignore what Einstein's saying, say something different, just by saying, oh, Einstein didn't understand it. And that is the revision they are doing in relativity.